over the last 10 years or so, it's much easier to compare against others, regardless of where they are. So
Hmm.
before um, you could be pretty content because you know that relative to whatever the average is and whatever your city is, you're doing fine. You're doing maybe even well. But then as soon as you start comparing globally across every city, and there's some person that is like I don't know, like 20 years old and is a billionaire or something, suddenly the comparison pools that you have change a lot.
Hmm.
So I think this is also one of the things that I was thinking about that's difficult to deal with, is that change in who you compare yourself to that I think has changed a lot over the last year or so. So this is why for it touches on another topic that I'm pretty interested in, which is just how to use technology mindfully. Because
Hmm.
I feel like if you get sucked into that, it becomes really hard to think about some of these things from a high level and
Yes.
to say, okay, this is where I am now. This is what reality is really like. It's not that I need to somehow immediately prove myself against this huge number of people out there. But I feel like if you're always immersed in technology and social media, it can be difficult to pull yourself out of it.
Hmm.
And that's all to say that I don't think social media is inherently bad in any way, but I feel like the way most folks use it probably uh, is not the healthiest. Do you
Hmm.
have any thoughts on that side of things in terms of technology and how you see that playing an impact in the way people view themselves?
I would say that the number I'm not doing a good job right now. Usually I can alt tab over to Google and remember, but I think I was on an airplane the last time I was watching one of the social experiment or a couple of other
Social
things
dilemma.
that, yeah, it's a social dilemma. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. When you watch that, you realize that checking your phone compulsively is basically OCD. I mean, just doing that level of double checking on who liked what and recognizing the way you're being manipulated should motivate you to try to do something else. And I think they talked a little bit about it, but I will elaborate that the nicest thing, the best thing as a human, before there was ever computers, before there was really even houses with drywall in them, the way that you connected with humans was to help someone else. And you do it because you're helping. Oh, you need help, I will help you. But the truth is the person being helped actually has less psychological benefit than you doing the helping. When you go to help someone, when you volunteer, when you make someone's life better, you actually give yourself just as much, if not more, endorphins and good feels and oxytocin and all the awesome bits than the person that you have just assisted. And finding ways to give back. If you're an introvert, you don't want to talk to somebody, then volunteer to pick up trash on the beach because you each have your own little bag. You can put your headphones in if you want to. Even that experience that is not necessarily human to human volunteering, doing those types of things really changes your perspective. It gets you out from your earbuds and it gets you out into the world and the environment that you're in. I think that more volunteer opportunities will really turn the tide. I don't know how to do that, though I can sit here and pontificate all day, but I cannot get my boys to do it. Like, I'm like, let's go do this. They're like, eh. And I don't make them. I just keep demonstrating by example what I think needs to be done. When you're feeling that anxious, when you're feeling that isolated, get out, find friends, go to a barbecue, listen to some music, but don't do it alone. And if you need to, go just volunteer somewhere. Go to the Humane Society. Take a bunch of cards and stamps. You don't even have to stay. You can walk into the desk, the front desk of a senior living facility and say, I bought this variety of cards. Here's a bunch of stamps and some cool new pens. Just pass these out to the people that live here and let them, write to family and friends if they want to. Those are always needed. And just that, what that take? 10 minutes? You went to Walgreens, you got the stamps, you got the cards, you dropped them by. 20 minutes out of your day. And you'll be like, I wonder who wrote to whom. I wonder which of those people was actually sending the last card before they passed away. I mean, you think about that and you go, you have really made a difference. You have been a butterfly effect to someone else in a positive way. And that's where our heart heals. Your heart doesn't heal because you're 30 under 30. Your heart doesn't heal because now you're a YouTube influencer. Your heart doesn't heal because you've got the coolest fingernails and you're showing them how to do it and making those ducky lips at people on TikTok. You do it because you've helped someone. And when you can help someone, that is where your heart is going to fill. Don't you guys pay attention to the Grinch when his little heart measurer went ping at the end because he helped the whole town get all of their presents back instead of being a mean old Grinch and taking their Christmas trees? It's timeless.
Yeah. I think one of the things that's sometimes unintuitive is that if you're anxious about who you are or proving yourself or something like that, there's a tendency to almost go in the direction that's not most helpful, which is to compare yourself even more. You might also try and boost yourself with different types of accomplishments, which is fine, but it may not be coming from necessarily the most pure place from a motivation sense.
Right.
In contrast, it feels like when you are helping others and you actually stop thinking about yourself for a bit, that's actually what reduces some of this anxiety, makes you feel a little bit calmer. But it's not intuitive, and I don't really see across all the resources you see on, a lot of the resources to deal with this kind of societal stuff is, spend less time on your phone or do this or do that. But in reality, I think those things are kind of like symptomatic fixes. But it does feel like things like going and helping someone out or not thinking about yourself so much because you're focused on someone else. These are the things that actually help that at a really like fundamental level.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's almost zero knowledge that's exposed to people about how to do that or why you should do that even. So I think it's interesting that you mentioned that as how you would go about thinking about how to deal with this technology problem, because usually people will just say things like get off your phone or use it less or put it away or these kinds of things.
A parenting rule that I learned a long time ago, my sister is a preschool teacher. She said, do not speak in the negative to a child, insofar as you don't say, don't kick your brother. You say, your feet need to stay on the ground. When they're doing something, the corrective thing is to say it in a positive measure. Tell them what you want them to do. Don't say what you don't want them to do. So thinking about it in a way, get off your phone doesn't help. All right, well, my phone is there. Now what do I do? Tell them what you want them to do. Suggest something they can do with a positive intent and make it a positive, not a do not do this. Say, do that, or try this instead. Also avoid the word should, if at all possible. Should is, I'm sure you already know, should is a word that should is a shame word. Should is a word that says, oh, you didn't do that? You should have done that instead. You're like, well, shit, it's already past when I could have done that. That's not helpful at all right now. So making suggestions for future changes and making them in a positive manner. Whenever you're talking to anyone, even to yourself in the mirror, don't yell at yourself about yesterday. Just try next time to not do the same thing and it'll be better for you.